And obviously, it is far easier to end the HIV epidemic when you're no longer hosting HIV. It may not be absolutely necessary. And in fact, you will probably need to start when you are still hosting it. But, you know, at least if you are whacking it and, you know, if you're beating it, it becomes much easier. You know, not impossible. It can be beating you and you can still go after it. But hey, why not go first class in life, right? Okay. So his name was Chuck LaSpada, and still is, presumably. And to tell you about him killing HIV, I have to start with Bill Pelling, who has changed my life many times, as a matter of fact. See, I got to give Bill a lot of credit because Bill manifests miracles for me. He has created breakthrough after breakthrough for me. I have taken quantum leaps from things that Bill produced, okay? And some of them came, you know, from his blood, sweat, and tears, though, actually. Bill's not big on blood, sweat, and tears. But other ones came from him just sheer manifesting. Okay, Bill is a manifester. You know what manifesting is? You ever hear of The Secret? You know, there's a movie out about manifesting called The Secret. Well, I used to teach success courses, and that was what I taught, actually. You know, before I discovered People Cure Things and I started this nonprofit, that's what I did, you know. I taught success courses, and Bill was, and actually will always be, I guess, one of my best students. A great man. He is a great man. And so I taught him that. I taught him to be a manifester, you know, and he is. He definitely is. And a great volunteer, great assistant. I could call him right now and he will drop everything and volunteer for something. Because I haven't needed anything much, so I haven't called him. But, you know, he just is a loving and loyal person who always comes through. And guts out the wazoo. Okay, so it's 1996, and Bill was out prowling around for another life partner, which this one was going to work out, you know, which actually he did. You know, it's like Bill's story has a happy ending in that regard. Lived happily ever after. Anyway, Bill went to a retreat for gay men. It was one of those resorts in the Catskills, probably Grossinger's or someplace like that. A huge place, you know. They had like 2,000 guys on the site. Bill still couldn't find anybody. He didn't find Bart at the retreat. Anyway, see, when the disciple is ready, the guru appears. And when Bill was ready, Bart appeared in his life. Anyway, so they had, you know, a lot of simultaneous workshops going on, so you could pick your workshop. But then they also had these places where everybody could come together. And it was at one of these big, it was like a long weekend, like 3-day weekend or something. And it was at one of these big gatherings that the facilitator asked people if they wanted to say something. So Bill stands right up and he said, I killed, whatever, hepatitis B. And you can kill HIV. He never had HIV. He exposed himself to it a bunch of times, but never got it. But anyway, he said, I cured hepatitis B, which he did. That would be on the hepatitis B cure, or the hepatitis-cureshow.org. Or again, if you want to hear about Bill curing hepatitis B, this website. That was a big breakthrough that he engineered for me, by the way. That website, click on hepatitis. Okay. So, and they applauded. They were like, hey, all right, you know. And the facilitator said to Bill, he said, Bill, you should not be in this. You should be teaching it, which was a mantle Bill never accepted. You know, maybe Bill actually didn't see himself as being powerful enough to teach workshops, or he just didn't want to do the work or whatever. But, you know, could have been great. Could have been great. Yeah. But you see, Bill is somebody who really did stand up in his life. I mean, here's a guy who, you know, Bill was one of 6 people in this country who were in charge of civil rights. For years, he was a director of fair housing and equal opportunity, I think it was. And once Bill cut off all federal funding to the city of Philadelphia because of their discriminatory hiring practices, and he got flack. He lives in Philadelphia. Oh my God. So Bill stood up in his life, and there are also places that he didn't go, things that he didn't do that he could have done that might have made a huge difference. You know, and when Bill hears this, he will hear me say that to him. Anyway, okay, so Keeley also was somebody, the same thing, like people always respond really positively. The problem is it has almost no other effect on them. Like Keeley's friend, Mark Siegel, is the publisher of the Philadelphia Gay News. Keeley is Aunt Keeley, you know, she sends your lessons in the Cure Drive. that Keeley. Okay, who else do we know who's named Keeley, right? Other than Keeley Smith, who she named herself after. Anyway, the singer. Keeley stood up too. Like her friend Mark Siegel, who was the publisher of the Philadelphia Gay News, invited her to speak at his testimonial. 200 people there, congressmen, senators, and she stood up and told him about the Cure Drive. And he was beaming, and people loved it. She said they just were listening to her. Wow, you know, they just were like, you could just see the wow on their face. Except it doesn't have much of an effect beyond that, you know. So that's what we're going to get into in this movie, okay? Anyway, but here's the thing: is it did have an effect on one person, Chuck. Okay. After this thing broke up, and a few people came over and they were patting Bill on the back and hugging him and stuff, you know. And Chuck came over, and Chuck was scared. He was dying. And he said to Bill, "Help me. Please help me. You know, I'm going to die. You know, I know I'm going to get another pneumonia and I'm going to die." And Bill said, "I got somebody I want you to meet." So I'm on the phone with Chuck, and I invited him to come for the weekend. And he arrived in the evening, and we sat down with Bill and Franny and a few other people, and we showed him how to get signals, and we started taking out pathologies. We did not remove the virus. And then for the next thing we did, I guess it was that evening. I think it was in the evening. I can't totally remember, but I took him, we went shopping. Okay, it was just Chuck and me at that point. And I figured I'm going to spend the weekend with this guy, and I'll teach him everything I can think of, because I didn't know how to kill HIV back then. I mean, I didn't really know what was going to happen. So